Hey now, you're hanging out with the Element of Inspirationalist, Brother Marcus, on the Elements of Inspiration, Brother Marcus podcast. Well, today, I give you the best interviews on this side of the globe, but I want to give you the Element of Inspiration, Brother Marcus, quicker picker-upper. And we want to talk about don't rush growing up, don't rush the process. And, a lot of our young people today, they want to rush to grow up. They believe that, when I get older, when I turn 18, when I turn 21, I'm going to be able to stay out, do whatever I want to do. And, some people want to allow their children to put on makeup at, very young ages. And, we're rushing the process of growing. And I believe that we don't need to rush the process. And there is power in growing in time. And so with that being said, I want us to, welcome this thought and this idea of taking our time to grow slowly. All right, because if we learn to grow slowly in life, we will gain lots of wisdom, faith, and also understanding our purpose. So I want all of our young brothers and sisters to really slow down. There was a song back in the day by Brand Nubians, and the song was like, slow down. And it was a really cool record. And, as I got older, I really understand the authenticity of the song, that we need to not rush into things. We need to not rush in life, because maturity is not about how old you are. It's not about age. And some people say age ain't nothing but a number. I'm not going to go and we're not going to explore that. We're not going to run down that rabbit hole. But what we will say, it's about understanding growth. And it all happens when we take time to learn, to glean, to listen, and to let God shape us on this journey. So I want us to kind of get into it today. There are 7 points that I want to share, and I'm hoping that we can embrace these things and do a whole lot better. We want to take time to grow, number one, because we don't want to skip any steps in our path to growing. Denzel Washington once said, easy is the greater threat to progress than hardship. Let that sink in for a little bit. Easy is a great threat to progress than hardship. So from a biblical perspective, the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verses 1 says, to everything there is a season, and there is a time for every purpose under the sun. So every step that we take, it will teach us something very unique and very different. So we don't have to kind of jump ahead or kind of rush the process. We want to be able to take our time and embrace the lessons that are right here, and they will help us right from where we are. We don't need to rush anything. We need to take time to grow. The maturation process is very necessary in so many areas of our lives. And we need to prepare before promotion. Absolutely. We need to take time to prepare ourselves. And again, I'm going to give you another Denzel Washington quote. He said, if you do the little things right, the big things will come. So I can't just say, I'm going to just go ahead and do it because I'm skipping the process. I'm going to, try to, not do the little things. Little things mean a lot, because sometimes it's the little things that kind of are put in place that create the foundation for the skyscraper. But if we don't take the time to handle the little things that are very important with the foundation, everything else is going to be all for naught. It's not going to be a strong structure in the future. So I want to go to the book of Luke chapter 16 verses 10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. To whom much is given, much is required. So you can't expect a blessing if you haven't been faithful in the building. Okay, you have to be able to learn, to build, to grow, to get that trust. We have to remember that promotion is going to come, but it's only going to come with proper preparation. And every season of waiting is preparation for the next season. So yeah, we are going to go through some things, but we need to prepare along the way. And this is something I thought was very interesting. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, the time is always right to do what is right. So when wisdom, it's greater than speed. Everybody wants to hustle and bustle and run and try to, the battle's not given to the swift nor to the strong, but he and or she that endureth to the end shall be saved. So we don't have to rush. What are we in a rush for? I'm not rushing anymore. We have to kind of, I got this quick saying that I often use with my family. We got to go with the Holy Ghost flow. All right. God is not in any situation where we need to make emotional decisions right here, right now. No, take your time. Take your time, baby. Take your time. Take your time. Do it right. That's what we need to be doing. Let's go to the book of James, chapter 1, verses 19. It says, be quick to do what? The only thing in life that we need to be quick is what? Quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. Rushing often leads to regret. We cannot make life-changing choices based on emotions because we will regret it. Really, people have regretted a lot of things that they've done. Rushing, at the moment, at the last moment, somebody smacks you, you get upset, you get into an argument, something happens. Now you regret the situation, or you say things that you should have never said because you're not listening. You're doing more talking, and that's where the issues can come in. So we need to slow down, and we need to think, and we need to think before we move, and pray that we can make the right decision and ask God for wisdom that will help us to guide our steps so that we can be better, Absolutely. Because if we learn to slow down, things will help us to do exceedingly and abundantly well, and we will have great success. So we've got to learn from the journey. Not just the destination. A lot of people, they're waiting and trying to get to the destination, get to the finish line, but it's about the journey, perseverance, success, right? Denzel Washington once said, success? Success? He said, I don't know what that word is. I'm happy, but success, that goes back to what's in someone's eyes. Everybody's going to have a different perspective of success, right? So it is about the journey, not about the destination, right? It's about the journey. The journey, if you understand the journey, you embrace the journey, you will see that it is imperative that we're growing in a way that is going to be beneficial. In the book of Proverbs, it says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your what? Your path. The destination where we're going to end up is important, but the journey is just as important. Life is about learning, not just about arriving. So every failure, every delay, every challenge is a shaped masterpiece by God, because God is definitely creating you for the better, right? And so I want to share this quote with you from Dr. Martin Luther King. I got another one. I got a lot of mo. I got a lot of mo, as Mr. T said in the Rocky movies. Now, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't know the whole staircase. We talked about that the other day on the podcast, but we have to remember that we don't have to compare ourselves, to others. You know what I mean? How you grow is how you grow, and how others grow is how they grow. Each of us are very peculiar and different in so many different ways. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 tells us this: let us run with patience. Right? Let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Each and every one of us has got our own race to run, and every race looks different. So we need to stop comparing, our growth with one another, and stop allowing ourselves to be stagnant because we look at the success of others. See, our time is coming. Your time is coming. My time is coming. We just have to stay faithful on the journey and accepting support and guidance as we are growing. I want to share this here. And it goes a little something like this. I am what I am because of who we all are. I always say we are who we are based on our experiences, but in the life-changing situations that we're all going to be dealing with, we need to accept support, right? And so we don't have to sit alone and, think of, why are we alone? Why is things so rough and tough and all of that? No, wisdom comes from listening, learning, and letting others pour into your life. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verses 22, it says, plans fail for lack of what? Counsel. But with many advisors, they succeed. That's why you can't always think that you're the end all, the be all, and you're all that in a bag of chips and everyone else is beneath you and you're greater than. No. If you're going to be greater than, remember greatness, I'm talking with a lisp. Greatness grows in silence. Yes, it does. See, in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. Denzel Washington once said in a quote, he says, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they are ultimately fueled disappointment. Something to think about, right? So slow growth is still growth. I had a friend of mine that said to me years ago, Eric Williams, he said, he says, hey, man, I don't know what we were talking about, but, I think we were talking about, things that we want to get to and accomplish and all of this. And it seems like it's taking a long time. And he said, hey, man, slow motion is better than no motion, but there's still growth. And God will work with the unseen situations that we're dealing with. And sometimes it is the quiet seasons that are the most powerful moments of development. So let me say this, as we get ready to wrap up the Element of Inspiration, Brother Marcus Quick, a picker-upper, to every young person listening right now, don't rush being grown. Take time, learn lessons in life, and let's, allow God to lead us in the directions in which we need to go. Life isn't about a race. It's a marathon. It's a journey. And every experience is shaping us for greater. So remember that you are still becoming, and all throughout your life, you will always still be becoming. And you are enough. Right where you are. That is the process. The process of progress is knowing that you don't have to rush at any given moment to grow up. So slow down and enjoy the ride of life. It's your brother talking. As I say on the radio, don't touch that dial, but in this case, don't touch that podcast. I got more interviews and elements of inspiration, Brother Marcus Quicker, picker-uppers, and everything. So we'll be right back.